Remember Targutai of the Taychiud? He led the exodus away from Temujin and his family, and was now the head of his own band, made up of a number of families and clans, mostly Taychiud. Well, it had been several years since he had abandoned Temujin, and now doubt was gnawing at him. He suddenly feared that, had Esugai's children survived, they would soon be old enough to think about taking revenge against him. The steppe tribes did not forgive or forget easily. So, along with some other riders, he went out to check on the family and found out that they were alive and that Bekter was dead. Using the excuse of Bekter's murder as pretext, he and his men rode up to where the family was hiding, a thickly forested area. Temujin was out hunting, so his brothers organized the defense. Belgutai, who remained loyal to the family after his brother's death, pulled out wooden barricades to block the paths, and Hazar, the most skilled of the brothers with a bow, fired at the approaching riders. Finding resistance a bit stiffer than he had expected, Targutai called out that they only wanted Temujin and would not harm the rest. Temujin then returned from hunting, and his family put him on the only horse and sent him running up into the densest forest to hide. The secret history of the Mongols tells us that Temujin would hide in that forest for 3 days and was about to cautiously ride out when the saddle came loose off of his horse. The Mongols had a firm belief in a spirit world and omens, and the number 3 was a holy number. Temujin took this as a possible sign from heaven to hide in the forest for another 3 days. Getting really hungry now, he rode out again, only for a large, white boulder to fall down on his path in front of him. White was a holy color, and there was the auspicious number 3 again. Taking this as another sign, Temujin, for another 3 days, hid before hunger finally sent him out. He had hid for 9 days. That's 3 times 3, a very good sign if heaven was watching him. So, he rode out and was immediately captured by Targutai. He was taken to Targutai's camp and placed in a kang, a wooden device which held his neck and hands in a board, similar to a stalk, but he could still walk around. With no permanent structures, Temujin was sent between gears, the felt tents that each family lived in, showing him off as a prisoner. A lifetime as a slave or execution would follow his humiliation in captivity, and Temujin would surely have felt little optimism for the situation he was in. Finally, after a week or 2 of this, he was placed in the gear of a man named Sorkhan Shira and his family. Sorkhan Shira was from a minor tribe and had no relation to Temujin, but he felt sorry for the boy and had no great love for Targutai or the Taychiud. At night, he loosened the kang so he could sleep better, and treated him with respect, and Shira's children seem to have grown fond of Temujin. Now, the middle of May in 1176, after Temujin had been held for some weeks, was the first full moon of summer, known to the Mongols as Red Circle Day, a cause for feasting and celebration. Temujin was held outside, attached to a rope held by a weak young man. Once, most of the people in the camp were drunk enough, and it was dark enough, Temujin smashed the kang into the young man's head, knocking him down and running off. The boy called out, and the Taychiud began searching for Temujin, expecting him to have hidden in the nearby woods. But Temujin had instead gone into the Onon River, where he sat freezing and silent for some time, until none other than Sorkhan Shira found him. He assured Temujin that he wouldn't give away his position, and told him which direction to go to get back to his family, and then left. But Temujin knew that with the kang on his neck, in cold, wet, woolen clothes, and on foot, he'd never make it past the mounted Taychiud. So he head back to Sorkhan Shira's gear, expecting, help. Khan Shira was furious that Temujin would endanger his family like this, but his wife and children encouraged him to stop and help Temujin. So they removed and burned the Kang, gave him new clothes, and fed him while they figured out what to do. The next day, the Taychiud realized that someone in the camp must be hiding him. So they began searching the gears. Khan Shira hid Temujin in a cart full of wool, and when the Taychiud got to look in it, he lambasted them, saying, "What idiot would hide under all of that wool on a day as hot as this?" And then they left. A call too close for comfort for Khan Shira. So, at the first chance he got, he gave Temujin a horse, some food, a bow, and 2 arrows, and told him which direction to go. And Temujin rode off and made it back to his family safely, much to their surprise. Temujin had nothing to repay Khan Shira with for now, but later on, during his unification of the tribes, he got an opportunity to repay Khan Shira for his kindness. This story is just another one of the many times Temujin is shown, after the unreliability of the people who he came blood relation with, that the most trustworthy were the lowest ranking people he held no relation to. This was not something he'd forget, and would be the roots of the famous meritocracy of the Mongol military. Now, a Chinese source also mentions Temujin was enslaved for 10 years, which is rather dubious. It could account for some missing time in his childhood if it was true, indicating he was possibly captured again, or his time with the Taychiud was just longer than what was suggested by the secret history of the Mongols. But there isn't much for reliable information to back this up. Either way, Temujin would develop a virulent hatred of slavery and captivity, and for the Taychiud. He was not going to forget his grievances with them, but it will be some years before he could get his revenge.